Before we jump into this course, there's some things that you need to pay attention to just for safety purposes. So first, if you have a new balance issue, I want you to hit pause and make sure that you get clearance before you go and take this course. So the vast majority of balance issues tend to come on over time, and they tend to just get a little bit worse as we age. So most of the time, our balance will degrade a little bit as we age, and that's entirely normal, and we can actually help that by doing some things to work on it. But what shouldn't happen is all of a sudden your balance gets worse from one specific thing. It could be an incident, or it could be you wake up with it one morning, or it could be over a matter of a week or two, you go from perfectly normal to having really bad balance issues. Those are all flags that you want to go get looked at by someone to make sure that you know exactly why you have some balance problems. But if I'm talking to you with normal balance issues that are just slowly coming on over time and you just want to increase confidence, please jump in. You'll do great in this course. Another thing I want you to be on the lookout for is whether or not you've had diagnosed vision problems or diagnosed inner ear or vestibular problems. So I don't mean poor vision. A lot of people, their vision is going to start to change as they age. They might need reading glasses. They might be near or farsighted. I'm not talking about just the optical version of it. I'm talking about whether or not you have something that changes your ability to have proper depth perception or has changed as a result of some other pathology. So these are the kind of things that they can change your balance, but the balance exercises we're going to do may or may not actually help those. So if your balance issue is primarily due to an inner ear issue such as BPPV, or you've had Meniere's disease, or a nerve injury in your ear, or you have a vision problem that doesn't allow you to lock on perfectly to what you're looking at, it's really important that you get the clearance of a medical provider before deciding to do more balance exercises. We're very unlikely to make any of those things worse, but you are at a higher risk of falls or making yourself dizzy from doing exercises if that describes you, so make sure you get clearance first. One other thing I want to make sure that you're aware of is that if you can't feel something, it's very hard for that part of your body to learn. So if you have a diabetic neuropathy, for instance, where you have diabetes and you can't feel the bottom of your feet, or you have numbness in your feet or even in your underside in some way due to either an injury or diabetes or something else, it's very important that you go slowly on this, and we really would like it if you got medical clearance before jumping in. Not because you can't do it, but if you can't feel an area and you have numbness in an area, a lot of the time that will be the cause for the balance issues, not a lot of the stuff that we're going to work on. So we just need to make sure that you're very careful going into it and you get clearance before you begin. So this won't apply to a lot of people, but it will apply to some. If you have a specific fall risk or you have a history of falls that have resulted in injury, it's very important that you go slow, and I would really prefer that you get clearance before you jump into this sort of thing. So if you've had a fall before, or you're at that age, or you've had something happen where another fall could be really disastrous for you, it's really important that you go very slow and take all the risks out of this that you can and get medical clearance before you go into this course. Most of the stuff here is designed to improve your balance, and it will help that. But if your balance is going to be on the edge of something that could cause a risk to you, we don't want you to go jump into this course to try to get that benefit and accidentally just increase the risk of a fall. So make sure if you're at a fall risk, or it would be very bad for you to fall, that you make sure you get medical clearance before you keep going. So one other thing I want to differentiate is the difference between dizziness and lightheadedness. So dizziness a lot of the time has to do with us moving in a certain way, or it will have to do with us moving our head quickly or with visual input in those kinds of ways. Lightheadedness tends to come from things like raising from a chair too quickly, or laying down or sitting up, any kind of changing position. And a lot of that is because it actually is a change in blood pressure. So if you have any kind of blood pressure issues, or you have lightheadedness issues where you feel like you might faint, but you're not necessarily dizzy, this is a different kind of balance issue altogether. So you need to make sure that you have that taken care of. And when you go to take this course, anytime we change position, or anytime we move our head, or we go from stand to sit or the other way around, you need to go very slowly, make sure you're very well established in a position before you start exercising there. So if we're going to go from sit to stand, you need to take your time. You need to get well balanced, hold on to things. When you stand up, give yourself a minute or two before you continue on with the exercises, just to make sure that you're not going to have a change in blood pressure and you're not going to get lightheaded, which is a balance issue that we're not going to be able to help with this kind of course. Last thing is if you bruise easily, you need to be very careful as we go through this. We're not going to do very many things that would cause any kind of bruises, but we are going to be doing a little bit of self-massage with a ball. So if you do bruise easily, or you have blood clotting issues, and you go and you drill a ball into muscles way too hard, much harder than I would tell you to do, then you can cause some bruises and you can cause some problems. So if you have bruising problems, it's very important that you go very, very slow, and I might even encourage you to skip the self-massage part, purely because it's not worth trying to work on the muscles in our feet if it's just going to leave you bruised and battered at the end. So the last thing I'm going to say If all else fails, please make sure that you get medical clearance before doing this. Most of the people watching this are going to have some reason that they should be getting medical clearance before they exercise, so I would encourage you to do that just to make sure that you're safe and that we can make lots of progress together as we keep going.